Hey everybody, it's Rich and welcome to our second video in this series. If you saw the first video, we covered two important subjects. Basically, we talked about the power of your belief, and we also looked at fear and discussed how fear is holding you back from living your dream life. In today's video, we have an equally important topic. This one is how to shift from what I call a work style into a lifestyle. Instead of being a workaholic, I want you to be a lifeaholic. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to talk about how to make this shift. Then you're going to meet another one of my amazing clients. Today you're going to meet Pam Sterling, who has absolutely not only made the shift from a work style to a lifestyle, but she's absolutely monetizing her passion, which is around living a raw food lifestyle and helping people to detoxify their lives. So we're going to talk to her. And then we're going to end today with an exercise that I call the crystal ball exercise. So let's talk first about the difference between a work style and a lifestyle. So a work style is basically this, and hopefully I'm not about to describe your life. You wake up in the morning, you go to a job that you barely tolerate at best, you are stressed out all day doing something that you don't love, and maybe you're working with people that you don't love and you work for a boss that you can't stand. You come home at the end of the day, probably a little bit stressed out from the day. You go to bed at night and you're having nightmares about the day, and then you wake up the next morning and what do? That's right, you repeat the process. This is a classic work style. This is what most people have. What I want you to have is the opposite. I want you to have a true lifestyle. What I want for you is to literally in life have it all. Now, what does having it all means? First of all, it means you are doing what you love. You're experiencing incredible amounts of success. You have incredible amounts of happiness. You have love in your life. You have meaningful relationships. You have a deep spiritual connection. You have great amounts of health and vitality. Now, this is clearly not the typical life that most people have, and the reason is they're stuck in a work style. I want to help you make that shift into a lifestyle. Now, here's the key thing that we need to have a lifestyle. We need time. If you want to have great relationships, if you want to have great health, you need the time not only to focus on your work and on those relationships, but you really need the time to focus on yourself. You need the time for self-care. It just can't be done in a work style. We need to make that shift. How do we make that shift? Well, number one, it begins with getting very clear on what holds the most value in your life. Think about that for a minute. What holds the most value in your life? How do we make that shift? Number one, we determine that. There's a great line that says the main thing in life is to keep the main thing the main thing. And there's a great story that I call the crystal ball story. I want to share it with you now. My belief is that life is like juggling. You're out there every day in the world and you're juggling all these balls. You've got your personal life, your family life, your relationships, your work life, your financial life, your spiritual life. You have all these things that are going on at once, and it's a lot to juggle. I believe that we have crystal balls that we're juggling, and we also have rubber balls. The crystal balls are those main things. The crystal balls are the most important things in your life. Mainly, in my opinion, your health, your intimate relationships, your family, for sure your career, your financial life is very important in this material world that we live in. Those are pretty much the main things. Everything else, those would be the crystal balls, by the way, and then everything else in your life, and I mean everything else, in my opinion, is a rubber ball. Here's what I mean. If you're going through life and juggling these balls, if you drop a crystal ball, drop it, hits the ground, what happens to it? That's right. It's going to shatter into a million pieces and you can't put it back together. But as you're going through life, if you drop a rubber ball, what happens? Bounces right back up. No big deal. So the key thing is this. Under no circumstance can you allow a crystal ball to fall and hit the ground. These are the most important things. These are your top priorities. These are your main things. And here's what I've discovered. The people in life that, number one, are very clear on what holds the most value, the people that know what their crystal balls are and focus their time and attention on those, and they pretty much cut away the fat and let everything else go. They don't allow the rubber balls, which in my opinion are things like gossip and drama, things that hold no value. They're able to let those things go, focus on the crystal balls, focus on what they most want. These people experience the two things that you want: happiness and success. And as you get to know me better and better, that's all I want for you. I want you to be successful in every area of your life. And at the end of the day, all I really care about is that you are experiencing great amounts of happiness. I want you to enjoy your life at the highest level possible. We need to start with figuring out what our crystal balls are. I'm going to walk you through an exercise in a few minutes where we will together figure out exactly what those are. But first, I want to introduce you to my amazing client, Pam. You're going to hear all about her, how she's made that shift from a work style to a lifestyle, how she is doing what she loves. She's traveling the world, she's exploring, she is happy as can be, experiencing what she calls two things. Number one, outrageous amounts of joy, and what she calls a bigger, smaller life. Let's meet Pam now, and then I'll join you in a few minutes, and then we'll do that crystal ball exercise where you determine what is the most important stuff in your life. Thanks.